So, I hear we're into some of the same stuff. Greetings and welcome to this special episode of Podcast Revolution. I'm your host John, and without me is Eric Mitchell, who's at home probably sleeping because he's been very tuckered out, and he has good reason to. We've had quite the trip, and while we were on this trip, we brought a voice recorder with us and recorded the happenings of the trip. So without any further ado, here's one of the recordings. Greetings and welcome to this broadcast, the special episode of Podcast Revolution, where John and Eric are driving to Toronto.
Yeah.
Right now I'm driving and holding the audio recording device, and I'm going to hand it over to Eric, who's going to take the helm from here.
Yeah, I'm taking the helm, that's right. We are about 60 miles outside of Syracuse. It's almost 10:30 at night. We got about another 5 hours to go.
Approximately 5 hours in total.
Approximately. If John goes a little faster, or if we make Melissa drive, probably about 2 hours. But she has a little bit of a lead foot. And we got...
That's how she drives our show so hard.
Right, exactly. Just like this guy over here in bed, Mr. Mike Miller, a.k.a. Bacteria Mike. Also, Viral Michael, as he likes to be called that.
The other Mike who was supposed to be on this journey with us was Mike Bordelaise, who is affectionately known as Frenchie, but due to his blunder several episodes ago, we banished him from our journey.
Yeah, plus, yeah, pretty much. So, Bordelaise, I don't know why you didn't decide to come on this trip. I hope it was for a good reason. What do you think, John?
Well, his excuse was that his boss wouldn't let him, which is a lot better than saying he has too bad of a sunburn.
Oh, that's very true. So how you doing back here, Bacteria Mike?
I'm doing pretty good. No complaints so far. It's been an enjoyable ride. We've all been up since like 5:30 through 6 o'clock, so we're all running on like 16 hours right now?
Pretty much, except for producer Melissa slept in all day and had a great day, while the rest of us are all really tired.
And working.
And working. Although producer Melissa worked today, too.
For like an hour.
So we've had a good ride so far. We've talked about some interesting subjects. We got on the subject briefly about how much we hated Nicholas Sparks movies again. And producer Melissa told us that girls like them. What was the reason? I don't even remember. That's how much I hate them. What was the reason?
All girls love a good love story.
Yeah, even if they're like all exactly the same, the girl will watch like every one that comes out and still love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we talked about after that how someone always dies in them, and how people say, "Oh, why'd you give it away?" But it's like, really, I didn't give away anything. It's a Nicholas Sparks movie. Like, come on. And we decided that it's also lame when people say, "You gave up the ending of Titanic or Pearl Harbor. That's really lame. Why'd you do that?" When
300.
just anything historical is pretty lame. So we talked about that. And what else did we do, John?
We stopped at a gas station and got gas.
Yep. So, right.
I drank part of my 5-hour energy, which hasn't taken effect yet, but I'm sure it will.
It will take some time.
Yep. And we filled the car with some air, the tires, I mean.
That was a great team effort.
It was. And we're on our way to Canada now. And we made sure that Melissa stayed in the car while we were working on the car.
Yes, it was very manly.
It was very manly.
Blowing air is a very manly activity.
Yes.
No women should be present when men are blowing air.
Oh, let's also not forget that we were bashing on New York a little bit too.
Yeah, we were. And, we were about how much when you enter New York, you just feel like you're in a crap hole, pretty much. And we've been driving through upstate New York. We went through Albany and all these other places, and there's literally nothing here. Do you want to talk about this a little bit, Bacteria Mike?
Well, it's pretty sad when you're just driving, and then all of a sudden you see some lights off in the distance. There's a few lights here and there, and you say to yourself, oh, hey, there's actually people who live out here. I kind of forgot about that, because there's absolutely nothing. You just see trees, then you get up on a hill, then off in the yonder you see that. And then that's the first thing that comes to your mind. You know that it's kind of sad.
One thing that I've noticed that I find kind of interesting is that earlier in the day, traffic was really bad before we started our trip. Like all the people trying to beat the traffic for 4th of July weekend. And then, since we've started our journey, we have run into no traffic. Which is amazing. And this is when you'd expect it to be heavy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I left work today, I wasn't feeling well earlier today, and I left at about...
Liar!
No, I really wasn't. And I left at 1:30, and I got home at 5. And that was just going from Shrewsbury, Mass. to Hampstead, which you just take 495 straight up.
No way. It took you 3.5 hours to get home today?
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
I was hating life for that amount of time. Pretty much. But then again, that can be said for all 3-day weekends. There was one day where I left work at 5, I got home at 9. And then my mom was saying that someone that she works with, their daughter who works in Shrewsbury and lives in Methuen, left at 5, I got home at about midnight. Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Got it.
Really cool story.
Cool story, bro.
We also wanted to thank all of our listeners. We're finding that we're pleasantly surprised, to say the least. We're not trying to be cocky and saying like we're celebrities here, even though we are, because we're more important than you. But we got some listeners now, John. It's kind of cool. What do you think?
As soon as I heard that we had listeners in a group of 3 or 4 do a marathon of our program, that was when I realized that we're stars.
That's absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Hats off to them.
Absolutely. Well, Bacteria Mike, you're a part of this as well. So
I appreciate that. I feel really
They're
honored.
critical to our success.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. And who knows? Maybe in an episode or 2, we'll be changing up the music for the intro, including some real.
That's true. We probably will be changing up. It's sad because the intro is fun, but we will be probably changing up the intro. I don't know when. At some point, it will still.
By the time this podcast is listened to, we should have a Facebook group already up and a poll already in the process underway of what people think we should do with our intro music.
Exactly. Maybe we could even have a contest that our listeners could maybe even create intros for us every 10 episodes or something like that. I don't know.
We'll have some kind of like contest or something.
Yeah, I mean we even had a listener who emailed us in feedback and asked if he could come down and play a song on our podcast. We're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So, if any listeners into that, that would be cool. So, I think we're going to cut to our first commercial break. So I hope you enjoy.
So my computer is not working right because I've been downloading too many adult videos. So, what do you recommend I get to make it work right?
Well, boys, I'd say that you should get the Spyware Doctor with Antivirus 2010. It's new, and it's PC Magazine Editor's choice for best antivirus software. It's rated 5 stars by industry experts, and
I highly recommend you get the Spyware Doctor.
And then I can watch my videos?
Yes, if I can watch them with you. Spyware Doctor. I swear by it. Alright, and that was a good commercial, I guess. And coming up is some more driving through New York, because it is a big state that takes quite a while to drive through. Alright, it is now midnight on our journey, going to Toronto from New Hampshire. And I'm still driving, and I'm still alert and doing fine. And I'm going to pass the helm over to Eric. Here you are, sir.
And we haven't seen much in upstate New York. We've been here for about 250 miles now, and there's really nothing up here. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I think so far I've only seen really 2 or 3 spots of actual population.
So it's been a pretty boring ride, to say the least.
You know what's kind of sad? I'm sorry to interrupt you. That you see more service exits than you do actual exits.
Yeah, I don't know why if this is like a New York thing, but there's literally a service station about every 10 miles, like a big rest stop on the highway.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of ridiculous.
But it's not inconvenient. It's convenient if you really need one.
And then we played a game of 20 questions where John got Samuel L. Jackson. He guessed that one in about 6 questions, and Mike got Bugs Bunny, and it took him or Elmer Fudd, and it took him about 50 tries.
Yeah, that wasn't really a name that sticks with me much, but in his case, Samuel L. Jackson, since you saw him very recently, it was more obvious for Turcotte. In my defense.
And we just saw our sign for Deer Crossing next 2 miles, and what I don't get about these signs is, wouldn't it just be Deer Crossing wherever the hell it wants? Like,
No, the deer knows the limits.
you think like, oh, like after this, is there just like a wall, and the deer's like, oh, all right, like, guess I can't cross here. I guess I gotta turn around and go another 1.5 miles south. This doesn't really make any sense to me whatsoever, but
That is too bad it could be the same for everywhere else. I mean, there's been some times where I've had some pretty close calls with deer, and there definitely weren't any signs for it, unfortunately. Maybe they hopped up the fence or something, I don't know.
oh dear.
Mexicans.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Maybe we should make a law here that if you see something that looks like a deer, it needs to show its ID.
I think you could run to be the governor of Arizona, John. And we're now passing a place called Geneva.
Alright, there's going to be a convention here.
Yeah, there's
I'm sure we're the first person who's made that joke.
I know, I'm sure everyone says that when they go by, or like, wow, this area is really neutral. I don't have much to say, to be honest with you. I'm kind of like half tired, half awake. Just kind of want to be in Canada.
You seemed pretty awake a minute ago.
I did.
The Pokemon theme song.
I did. That the Pokemon theme song got some energy into me, but it's starting to wear. I might need a 5-hour energy, but then I might not sleep later, so I don't know if I want to take it or not.
Yeah, right now it seems to be a pretty tricky time. Because it's only 3 hours, well, 3.5-ish to Canada, when that thing can go for 5 or 6 hours.
So I'm gonna put bets down right now. I don't think they're gonna search our car. I really don't. I think they're gonna ask us, where we're going and normal Border Patrol questions. But the only reason they would stop us is because Mike's passport photo, he kind of looks like a terrorist.
I did not look like a terrorist. Come on.
They're going to ask us if he's holding us hostage.
It actually says it's a passport from like Afghanistan. It says like Jihad Miller, and so I'm pretty sure you had like a towel. So I told Mike that when we go through the Border Patrol, he should wrap the towel around his head.
Well, if he still has a beard, that would be a little scarier, but right now he just looks like some science nerd.
Poor Mike. We're giving him a bunch of crap.
Bunch of caca.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
Not as much as Kevin, though. Cage is very used to it.
Cage is. He took a lot of heat both times he's been on our podcast.
Okay, well at least I don't feel too bad about it.
Yeah. He's probably watching Dexter right now at home. For those who haven't listened to previous episodes, one of our guest stars, Kevin Stein, who we call Cages, every episode he literally talks about how he does nothing with his life except watch Dexter all day.
Well, if it was just Dexter, that'd be okay, but he just watches TV all day.
Oh.
Like, literally, he does nothing. Like, we invited him on this trip, but he didn't come. He declined. We try to get him involved as much as we can. Cages, if you're listening to this, come join us.
Oh, man. Does anyone want to talk about something that really pisses them off? Because I'm trying to think of something that... What drives you crazy, Mike?
What drives me crazy?
What drives me crazy is dead air on the podcast.
No,
Yes,
what else?
yes.
What else drives you crazy?
When Eric tries to put down our fine listening audience. That puts a hole in my heart.
Maybe that's why people write to you instead of me.
It's possible. Or maybe they really love horses or want to have daughters.
In that case, I don't want any of it.
Or maybe they climb Mount Everest while on a horse.
I hate people who climb Mount Everest.
You hate them now?
I hate them now. I just think they're a bunch of losers.
I mean, like back in the day, like the 30s, that is impressive stuff. But nowadays, with the technology out, it's much easier.
It's
you know?
just lame. I think I've talked about it on a previous episode. It's just...
Hippie jerks, right?
They're just hippie
even-
jerks.
hippie jerks.
It's not even hard to climb Mount Everest. Anyone can do it. You just take a helicopter up about 3/4 of the mountain, like they all hippies do, and then they camp out for about 45 days just to make their oxygen go into their blood correctly.
They're guys with sunglasses and their satellite cell phones. They're like, "Yo, carry me up the mountain, man."
And then they don't even like climb up. They have walkie-talkies to their helmets and all this other crazy stuff.
The Sherpas literally carry
The
them up
Sherpas
mountain.
carry all their stuff, and they don't have any oxygen tanks or anything.
Props to the Sherpas.
And then you get to the top. It's just all about waiting for the right weather. Climbing Mount Everest is stupid. I really don't care. I hate when people brag about it. It's dumb. Absolutely dumb. What are some other things that people brag about that they really shouldn't, just because no one should care?
I had to say when the olden folk talk about walking to school without, buses and shoes and uphill both ways. I mean, that just gets a little bit drastic.
My dad does that a lot. He's like, "Oh, I had horse-drawn carriages that took me to school."
I mean, pretty soon you'll
stuff.
be hearing people talking about climbing Everest uphill both ways. It's just sometimes you just know that it's just a little too exaggerated.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, what about you, John?
I guess one thing that's kind of annoying is when people brag about, like, a Coach bag, for instance. They're like, "I have my Coach bag. It's so much better than that $20 bag that she has 2 cubicles over." Really? It's a bag. I don't care.
We really hate Coach bags apparently on this show. I don't know if it's a running gag or what, but I think we put down Coach.
I'm not saying I hate Coach bags itself, just people who brag about them. Like the people who brag about their possessions. That if it was a cool possession, like a huge TV that's 10 times bigger than another TV, that's kind of cool. But a bag, they all carry stuff.
Well, I think that's more of a female thing, because I think purses are kind of stupid to spend a lot of money on. Like,
yeah,
for example, how much are Coach bags, producer Melissa?
Like 100 at least, I think.
$100 at least?
Wow.
Check out my Coach bag. I bought it in Transylvania.
Well, like, why can't you just get one for like $50 and then blow the other 50 on like cocaine or something?
If you go to the right flea market, you can get an exact replica for about $15.
Yeah.
It looks the same. No one will tell the difference.
Or
It reminds me of our trip to Washington back in 8th grade when that guy was selling those fake Oakleys for $20.
The ones that start with an A.
No, they
Oakley, $2.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just kind of sad when. Well, it annoys me when people use stuff as a status symbol. It's like, I have a Coach bag, therefore I am better than you.
Speaking of women's bags. Another thing I don't get about purses and I guess Coach bags, since we always put down Coach all the time on the show. How come like women's purses? It's like Fort Knox. Like you can't even get into the thing. Like some people put like locks on them and stuff. It's like really like what do you?
And some of them are so stuffed full of stuff that you can't even get it to close.
Like I understand like you have like a wallet type of thing. I mean girls' wallets are crazy. They put like coins and crap in it. Like it can't just be dollar bills, and you can't just like put the rest in your pocket. You have to have like spare change that amounts up to like $13.
Actually, speaking of purses, there's got to be a kind of envious part of a man who wishes he could have a purse at times where, like when you're at a register, for instance, and you buy something, you can't just throw the change in your purse. You have to put it in your wallet the right way and get everything right, and then people wait behind you and act like you're really slow.
Well, I
do. It's called a satchel.
Yeah, I have a man purse for work. I'll admit it, I do.
European handbag.
I have a European handbag for work. I put like my laptop in it and like usually my lunch and some other like
Why did you just
like
say
a book.
Lunch so funny. My lunch.
I don't know. Because I felt like it.
Or is it just a normal lunch?
It's a special one because I make it with love.
Aww.
Yeah. But I keep that all in there, and it actually works well for me. I mean, I wouldn't carry it around on the weekends or out of anywhere outside of work. But
is this something they give out at work or something that you brought to work on your own?
They actually gave me one at work, but I don't like the one they gave me.
Does everybody have one?
Yeah, everyone has. Well, not everyone, but I have one that they gave me.
Think you're better than the people you work with.
I mean, no one says like you have to use this bag.
Okay.
But anyways, going back to Fort Knox and girls' purses, I don't get what do they keep in there? Like a bowling ball, like what? Producer Melissa, why are girls' bags so ridiculously like full of crap? Like what's in it that's so important?
Honestly, mine is exactly the same way, and honestly, I only really use like a couple things that are in there. When I have like all this other stuff that's just always in there, I never use it. It's just in there just in case, I guess. I don't know.
Do you keep an umbrella in it?
No, I do not have an umbrella.
Because they actually make like little mini purse woman bag umbrella thingies that fit in there, which is ridiculous. And then what are some other things that are thrown in there? Mike, what do you keep in your satchel?
I don't have a satchel, unfortunately.
John, do you have a satchel?
I do not. Pretty much the only thing I use to carry stuff around is a jacket. And in the winter, it's awesome because I have a jacket with 1,000 pockets and I can always have a bunch of stuff all over the place. But in the summer, all I have is pants that can have stuff. So I'm really limited what I can carry at this time of year.
Yeah.
Then again, cargo shorts are really, really key.
That's true.
Dude, I love cargo shorts. I was reading an article the other day. It's like if you wear cargo shorts, you're like behind on the times. It's like, but cargo shorts are awesome. You can fit everything in it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But sometimes it's uncomfortable if you have too much stuff in there.
Like you could pack like enough. Like you could like go somewhere overnight and put all your stuff in your cargo shorts, like easily.
Yeah.
Easily. So I guess the conclusion then is cargo shorts on guys is kind of the equivalent of a purse for a female.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So basically, what we're trying to say is that so far on our road trip to Toronto, we've hardly talked about Toronto or Canada at all. We've just pretty much done a normal podcast.
Sort of. I mean, we've mostly been listening to like books on well, it's not tape, but like Bill Maher was reading his book.
Which is pretty much just a stand-up routine.
Essentially.
Got some good laughs in.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Shut this.
All right. Well, it's been about 15 minutes, so we'll probably check back in with you guys after we go to the border patrol.
Woo!
Yeah. All right. Give me that thing. Greetings! Alright, so we just went over the Canadian border a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
Had a tense moment.
She was a bitch.
Yeah, she was a female dog.
Yeah.
And not so nice a way. So, yeah, I'm driving in Canada. I'm going 80 kilometers an hour right now.
88 kilometers per hour.
No, just 80 actually. Doctor. Alright, so I will turn over to Eric.
Alright. So we just saw a really thugged out Canadian drive by in a car, and I commented that I thought it was cute. And I mean cute in the sense it's kind of like when you see a little kid, like, I don't know, like Halloween. It's funny. Like, it's cute. It's like, oh, they're not really that. They're dressing up. It's funny. It's kind of like when you see a Canadian all thugged out. It's like, oh, he's Canadian.
It's like when you see the 8-year-old on TV being like, "Oh, shizzle."
Yeah, it's like that. It's like, oh, you're Canadian. It's like you're Canadian. You're not tough. Silly Canadian. Well, how about you, Miller? What do you think of this Canadian experience so far?
What I've seen is pretty cool over in this part. I mean, I've been to
Costco. I feel like I'm in America.
Costco.
There's a store called Zellers over there.
Yeah, Walmart,
yeah, Zellers.
Holiday Inn.
But I've been to Ontario, but I haven't been to this part over here, and it's very much different. I mean, because when you go to Ontario, well, when you go through Quebec, it's like, I don't know, 300 or 400 kilometers of just farmland, and then a couple of strip joints here and there. But this is boom right into the middle of a city, so you're not bored out of your mind at least right away.
Oh,
New York.
Yeah. So right now we're on our way. It says we're gonna arrive at 3:46 a.m. and it's 2:23 a.m. We've been on the road since 6 p.m. the day before. So yeah, so we're almost there. Hopefully we'll see some more thugged out, silly little Canadians.
Matched by everybody, but I don't really want to go too fast in a foreign country.
Yeah, because I have a feeling they don't like Americans out. Because that car, they just started looking at us. So I have a feeling these Canadians aren't too fond of Americans. So I don't know. These Canadians, they grow to about 5 feet 10 in length, 170 pounds. They can put up a good fight.
Sounds like my wiener.
So,
Especially them thugged out Canadians.
well, what's really funny for people who don't know too, what makes this trip especially funny is, I don't know if anyone follows the news or not, but there was a huge riot in Toronto about 5 days ago, and there's actually a travel
At the G20.
at the G20 summit, and there's actually a travel advisory put out by the State Department of the United States that says for no Americans to go to Toronto this week for safety because of all these protests and stuff, because they all hate American politics that are kind of going into theirs. So
I wonder if insurance covers riot-related damage.
actually, believe it or not, I work in insurance and it does. It's actually considered it's like vandalism, malicious mischief, and civil unrest, I think is the exact term.
Even if you go to a place that's previously been warned to avoid.
I mean, I guess now that I've recorded this on a podcast, it'd be hard to determine negligence. You know, but whatever. That's okay. But we'll survive. These Canadians, Canadians are known to be very mild-tempered species.
And apparently, looking at our surroundings, they like to live in herds.
Yep. And apparently it goes from big city to nothing.
Yeah.
And then big city, and then nothing.
Canadians, unlike their superior American counterparts that live in suburbs, Canadians, they don't really like to do that. They prefer to go deep inside the trenches, or they make their caves inside the city. And
Speed limit gone up.
I don't know. I mean, you could probably go like 65, 60 and be fine, John, to be honest with you. I mean, as long as you're not going nuts.
Speeding up several kilometers.
All right. Oh, I swore. Crap. We're gonna have to bleep that out.
I'll just remember.
We'll remember it because I'm talking about it. We will, but anyway, so we'll follow up again in a little bit. All right. Bye-bye.
After that, we made it to the hotel, and as you can probably guess, we went to bed. Here's what happened in the morning. Greetings and welcome to Saturday morning.
Yeah. We're
Eric,
awake.
we're in the hotel room. And Eric, how was your night sleeping with Bacteria Mike?
Oh, it was awesome. I had my arms around him. I just could feel the life force of him just going through me.
It was very cute, I must say. So the weather is beautiful here in Toronto.
It's a beautiful day in Canada.
And for this is probably going to be still part 1 of the podcast, maybe part 2. I'm not sure yet, but in one of the upcoming parts of the Toronto podcast, we might be going to a big event that's happening in Toronto this weekend.
Oh, there is it's Gay Pride weekend in Toronto, which is, back home it's Independence Day, everyone's celebrating. We're in Canada, and it's a Gay Pride weekend, so
we might go try to interview some people and see if they find that they're being liberated on American Independence Day.
Yeah, it's 2 types of liberation going on this weekend. The one's for Americans and the gay one. Literally.
Yes, quite literally. So we might go check that out if we have nothing to do. Or maybe if we have something to do. We'll try to score some interviews, and hopefully it'll just be that.
I'm just going to try to score.
Eric further proving his point that he wants to live in a world of only men. But we're in a nice hotel room. It's looking pretty good. We got here about 4 in the morning, and it actually took a little while to fall asleep too.
Yeah, we were making noises.
Yeah, lots of noises. But anyways, we'll be back shortly. From there, we explored the city and went to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and here's what it sounded like in the hall. Greetings and welcome to the next segment. Eric and I are here at the Hockey Hall of Fame.
We are at the Hockey Hall of Fame.
And we're in line right now. What are we in line for, Eric?
We're going to be shooting pucks on a video goalie.
And what did we just do before this?
We put on some goalie equipment, and Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier took some shots on us.
It's weird because you're watching a screen and there's little holes in it, and it shoots the puck.
It shoots pucks out of it, yeah. So it's very interactive.
Not real pucks, like foam pucks.
Yeah.
Otherwise it would hurt.
It's still very scary.
But
that guy would have been hurting.
What's that, Bacteria Mike?
That guy would have been hurting after I got the deflection off my knee in his face.
Oh yeah. So I actually won that. I only allowed 1 goal on, is it 4 or 5 shots?
5 shots.
5 shots. So I had 800 save percentage, while Eric had a 600 save percentage, and Bacteria Mike had a 400 save percentage. But one of his saves was a highlight of the night.
What happened was that the puck came to my left side, and so I went to deflect it, and it hit off my knee and hit the guy right in the face.
Hit the attendant right in the face. But he was a strong man, and he was fine. It didn't even faze him.
Apparently he was used to it, because he said when he played goalie, he never wore equipment like that, face mask.
Very nice.
Very nice.
So what do you think of the Hall of Fame so far, Eric?
It's pretty interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff. It's funny. The uniforms they used to wear, I think, is hilarious. They're
like
literally
when they say
like sweaters.
Yeah, they're not kidding.
So it's a lot of cool. I'm excited to see the Stanley Cup in a little bit.
You've been to 3 Hall of Fame museums.
Yes.
Based on what you've seen before, how does this compare?
I think this one's the most fun.
It's very interactive.
It is very interactive, and
all this is free. It's $15 to get in, but all the events inside are free.
Yes, and we're only we can spend probably days in this place.
Oh, that is a cocky goalie right there.
Do his pregame stretches.
Shoot him in the face. Oh, just wide. 36 kilometers an hour. All right.
Yeah,
well,
this whole kilometers thing is killing me. I hate it.
Yeah, it's difficult to grasp. But all right. So after we finish this, we'll give you an update. Signing out, Johnny T. All right. Well, I know you're all in so much suspense over what happened as a result of our taking shots at the fake goalie, and you'll find out on the next special episode.
Oh, pants down.